Yes, sir. Back in this thing with another interview, man. TalentedOnes Media. Back in here. I'm your host, Jay Shep. And today, y'all know how much I love music, man. Y'all know how much I love vibes. And I keep staring at this camera so y'all know what the meaning is. Y'all know that this is real. Singing, or how I should say, singing. I think that's the more appropriate word for it. If you know, you know. If you don't, it's probably because you're on the latter side. But today, we have what we call a singer in the building, man. Upcoming out of the city of Houston, Texas. Give it up for the Daria Savannah. How you doing?
You know, people always do that. They always say Daria.
Really?
It's Daria.
Thank you.
It's Daria. It's okay.
Air 5. Quarantine 5. All right, so first of all, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here. I'm excited to be out of the house doing something. Appreciate
it. First of all, TalentedOnes, we definitely are practicing social distancing. I see the distance in the room. Cleanliness next to godliness, and then we are essential employees. Get that straight.
Okay.
So, man, I've been actually kind of, I met you back in, what was it, like September, R&B Cypher, shout out, you did your thing, the video was dope.
Thank you.
For sure, and just give the little people a little info about you, where you from, how you started this music thing, man.
Okay, so my name is Daria Savannah, I'm from Houston, Texas, born and raised. I started singing in church. Of course, everybody who can sing originated in church. So I started in church. My mom sings, so she just pulled me up on stage one day and was like, "We're gonna sing this song together." And I just have to put this out. You know, the Clark sisters just came out. So the song that Kiara and her mom Karen sang is the song that we started singing. So I really liked that music when that movie came out because it reminded me of, how I started singing. But anyway, started in church with my mom, and then from then on, I just started doing like different talent shows in middle school and high school, stuff like that. Once I graduated, I started doing, the televised singing competitions, American Idol, X Factor, stuff like that.
Shout out.
I excelled in some of them. Some of them, you get the nose or whatever.
Right.
Did that for like 10 years, just thinking like, if these people can make it, I can do it. I keep getting closer and closer. So that was what a big chunk of my journey was. And then after that, actually, in October 2018, I went in the studio for the first time, set up my own little studio in the crib, and recorded my first single, Dirty Lover. And I just kind of been doing what I've been doing since then. And I just dropped my EP in July of last year, so we're coming up on the year anniversary. Excited about that. And now we're here, just trying to continue to go forward.
No, for sure, and that's the whole story is definitely dope. I think the thing which is more interesting to me is that obviously enough, like when I went through your IG and everything, definitely knowing that you can live sing, but what was that moment that got you from just singing to I'm gonna record this and put this out?
So ever since I was little, I always did like the cover, not little, but younger, I would do, the covers, YouTube covers on MySpace singing. And that was very comfortable in the comfort of your own home and all that stuff like that. But I had to realize that I can only excel so far with that. You have to transition to live singing. And contrary to popular belief, I've excelled a little bit with performing now. But when I first started, I would literally stand in one space and I would just sing, and I would be nervous. As a matter of fact, when my mama first brought me on stage, I used to cry and sing at the same time. So it took a lot to get to that point of getting used to live performing. But I really do like it now. I'm able to be more expressive. I'm really able to let my words and not other people's words. And even if I do sing covers, I'm able to actually give a show. I'm able to act it out. So it's a completely different dynamic, and I'm glad I've been able to, progress in there.
And definitely with your covers, I went to the SoundCloud and I saw some of those covers did some numbers.
They did, huh?
They did some numbers. What was like the reactions that you had? 'Cause I know you've been doing this for a minute. You singing, doing covers, the MySpace era to up to now. But what happened when you can physically see that number of how many people that are like really rocking with what you're listening to? How did that feel?
It's eye-opening because to know that, I'm not charting nowhere, I don't have my music on the radio, but there's been people on YouTube who has been following me since I've been putting videos out in 2007. And so now we're in 2017, and like one of my videos is at 88,000. And Cardi B, be careful. And it's like, whoa, what is going on? And people comment and they're like, I've been following you for this long and you still sound great. I'm seeing your growth. So it's really humbling to see people, really rock with you when you're, in the industry and this word considered nobody, even though I am somebody.
I don't think people caught that, but
I can take it back. Even though in the industry people think that you're nobody, you really are somebody.
Right.
You just ain't made it there. You ain't got to that platform right yet. So to see people rock with you throughout that journey is just it's humbling and it's amazing.
No, definitely. I think one of the things is, especially with you, that it's not. First of all, like the strides I've seen just from September to now are a great stride because the movement with it. You on the social media, you got consistent content, you're going back to back, and you're showing that you're working with not only just you and your team that you're working with are doing what you got to do, but you're working with other singers and kind of like collabing, but yet y'all are still on your separate paths, but y'all are pushing each other. Like, tell me how who you've been like working with, and then how did they even come about? Like some of the singers you've been working with.
So the core people that I work with right now, it came about because I joined a band. It was called Novation. Carrie Devereaux was the manager of the band, and my friend I graduated high school with, his name is KB, or Catron Music on Instagram. He asked me, he's like, hey, you want to get into this band? I'm like, okay. And at that point, I wasn't really doing a lot of live stuff. I think I had released my single, but I still wasn't really out there yet. So this was an opportunity for me to start doing the live music. So then I joined the band, and then from there, someone else brought in another artist, and her name is Nakia Janae. And so then we started bonding, and we did the band, and then we were like, okay, we can mesh. Because one thing with singers, it's very hard to find singers who can relate to you on a musical level. When it comes to harmony, when it comes to performing, when it comes to the dynamics, like, we Southern singers at heart. Southern singers, I'm sorry, at heart. And so to find people that you can mesh with musically like that, you just can't let that go. So KB is a part of the team for sure. Nakia, he's a producer, musician as well. Nakia, and then the videographer Lauren that I work with, Rare PM, and then all these other artists that are attached to that. I can name so many, Tasia, I can Travis. It's just so many people that have come into that circle now, really because I joined that Novation band. So many things have been unfolding, and it's been really humbling to see this team of people come together. So many different artists, not all are singers or rappers, but just producers or just dancers or just people who love the art. And we all support each other, and the love is really dope. But that's what we're all about. Is we're local, we have to stick together.
Right, and I see like it's power in numbers. I feel like as a collective, when you have a great team together, you can really just teamwork makes the dream work.
Absolutely.
And I don't think that's a cliche statement. That's really real, and that's how y'all are moving. Obviously, you know what time period we're in. We're in quarantine, and we're in this pandemic situation time period. How have you been able to just kind of like keep going, or have you been writing still? Are you still singing? Like, what do you have going right now since like everything's kind of set still?
Can we get real?
We can get real.
I've been in that word. I've been in the Bible because there is so much going on around us, and I feel like now we're able to really see where our foundation is. So before I could put out more music, before I could start writing new content, I had to make sure my foundation was solid. So I had to start there, and then every day I'll get up and I'll read, and I don't know if you've seen on my social media on Instagram and Facebook, I do different stories. So whatever I read, I started from Genesis. And whatever I go through, I'll share on my Instagram, and people are like, dang, you make this sound interesting. Like, I need to go get me a Bible. I need to do A, B, C, and D. And it's an amazing feeling to see that my journey and how I'm trying to keep myself sane in this quarantine is really inspiring and helping others to do the same. So that's why I had to start, and then I had to say, okay, now what type of music do I want to put out? I've even had to go back to what type of message do I want to put out. I've always been very particular about the message that I put out when I'm writing and when I'm putting out my music, because that's important. It's one thing to just go with the music or the instrumental, but them words, whether we know it or not, is what downloads into people's minds and their spirit and in their heart.
Very true.
So once I laid that foundation, I'm like, okay, I need to put out this type of music that's gonna uplift some people. That's still gonna make them bop. That's still gonna make them have a good time, but that's gonna also show them their worth. That's gonna also show them their purpose, or also gonna uplift them in whatever it is that they're going through. So all of those things have really helped me, and I have been starting to write. I think I'm gonna do a single pretty soon. I'm still in the midst of all that. Okay, you heard it here first. So I'm working on that, but that's just really what this quarantine situation has been. It's just really increasing myself, increasing my knowledge and research, and not just, you know, it's cool to be on social media and do the challenges and do all those other things, but
right.
Like you said, we gotta have balance. So
we gotta have balance, gotta keep it real. That's definitely true. And I'm glad you said something about a journey, because that just rolls perfectly into my question I asked everybody on this platform, man, which is, you've been going for a minute. I think you actually probably have one of the longer grinds than most people I've talked to, you know, for some years under your belt. Yeah. Definitely some motion. I definitely see a lot of things coming to fruition in the future. So which one do you think, right, like at this current moment, right where you're sitting, which one's more important to you? Is it the journey or getting to your destination?
The journey, for sure.
But why the journey though? Why can't we just skip the journey, get to the money, get to the bag?
Because wherever you end up on your destination, whoever you are at that destination or at that point, it depends on your journey. Mm-hmm. So for me, I already know where I'm gonna be at my destination. Whenever I get there, I already know what I'm supposed to do, type of person I'm supposed to be. Mm-hmm. But whoever I'm supposed to be, that I gotta put in the work through the journey. So like for me, you know, I said I was doing the talent competition shows, and for a lot of years, I was getting no. Like I first auditioned when I was 16 years old. Went in there and blew. This is when they were in the auditorium, so you know they echo and everybody can hear you. Blew it out the water. They told me no. Went back. No. I got no like consecutively for a long time. And then every now and then I'd get some yeses and we would, you know, get higher. But for the majority of the time, it was a lot of disappointment in that. And then you go and you like, why am I getting no's? I can sing. I'm out singing. Very humble, right? I'm out singing everybody here. Why am I getting no's? I'm performing. The performance aspects, all of these things, I'm hitting it. I'm entertaining the people. I can see you vibing. What is happening right now? And I think now that I'm a little further along, I can look back at that and say, well, that's why that had to happen. I had to build some character. Right. I had to develop in some way, shape, or form. And these no's is really what I needed to become who I am now. Because like you said, the grind don't stop. You hear no, you can't stop. You got to keep going and figure out, okay, what can I do different? So the journey is absolutely more important than the destination.
And I think with that mentality, you're thinking longevity, not short term.
Absolutely.
Which was a test and you passed it.
Well, thank you.
See, look at that. And just, first of all, those are some gems being dropped, people. If you need those gems during this little hard time, those some gems dropped. That's crazy. That story, like your story really reminds me of Lucky Day.
I like Lucky.
So like Lucky, I think tried out for American Idol. I want to believe in the year 2006, 2007.
I did see that.
And
I saw that.
He just got his what? He just got a Grammy. Did he get his Grammy this year? Or he was Grammy nominated.
I'm not sure, but I know his music is doing well, so I wouldn't be surprised.
So basically, you know, we're gonna say at least he was Grammy nominated. It took him 13 years to get there. A lot of people don't understand what's for you is for you. When it comes, it'll come.
And there's no such thing as an overnight situation. You may blow up, people may know your name, or the majority of people may know your name overnight, but you've been putting in work behind the scenes for years.
Exactly. And that's why I think people take so much insult to the comments of, oh, you overnight, or this happened so quick for you, or this happened so fast. And some people, it does happen fast for them. But I always say, sometimes when it happens too fast, it goes away too fast too. You know, some things crash and burn. So I think just that consistency, you're putting in consistent work, grind. I'm seeing it social media wise, hearing you talk about it, I see the mentality is there, and I think you're actually gonna last in this thing a minute, especially when it pops. I definitely want to come back and we're gonna have to do another interview.
We're gonna have to.
On top of that, and talk about it and be like, dang, that's crazy. Remember when we got that first one? Look at you, now you gonna come in with the fur on, some shades. But definitely great talk, man, for sure. You gotta let the people know social media, where to find you, where they hear the music. Let the people know what you got.
So you can find me on social media at the Daria Savannah. I'm gonna spell it out for you: TheDariaSavannah. That's my Instagram. On Facebook, it's just Daria Savannah. On Twitter, it's just Daria Savannah. But I am the Daria Savannah. You can find me anywhere on any social.